there's a common theme within a lot of fictitious movie presidents, and it's either aliens, an asteroid, or the Russians. Like those are the three main enemies of
Yep.
of movies that surround around a president.
Hello there.
Hello?
Hey guys, welcome to the podcast, All of the Movies, where we discuss, well, all of the movies. My name is Emily, co-host here along with Erinn. We have been best friends for over a decade, traveled together, lived together, and have shared the same enthusiasm for all things movies. So we decided to start recording our movie conversations and create a joint YouTube channel, now podcast, to share with all of you guys. Thanks for watching or listening, and let's get into this week's episode.
Booyah.
Hello. Hi.
Hello.
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 My name is Emily. I am co-host here on All of the Movies, a podcast and YouTube channel. And this is my co-host, Erinn. Pew, 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 pew,
Pew, pew, pew. What's going on, guys?
Anyways, before we get into this episode, as always, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel and follow us on your places where you stream podcasts. Spotify, Apple, Google, all those good places. If you're watching on YouTube, they'll be linked down below. And without further ado, let's get into this episode, which is, because today's election day, at least when this is going to be uploaded. And honestly, let's not get into the politics.
Yeah, we're going to leave the politics at the door.
We're going to get into the politics of movies.
Oh, I like that. Nice little play on words there. Well done.
Politics of movies and the different...
Not quite sure what it means. It was a really nice little play on words.
I don't know. I'm trying to segue into our topic, which is discussing the presidents in movies and fictitious presidents. Okay, we're not going to discuss any presidents in movies that are based on real life because we've had enough real life. We're going to get into the movies.
That, I like that.
Yeah. So, where do you want to start off at?
Yeah, so let's start off with some stats because I ran some numbers. And by run, I mean Googled. And by numbers, I mean found one number. And that is 90. And there are 90 films that I could find that were all tabulated where the president was either, and again, this is fictitious presidents we're talking about. So there are 90 films where the president was either a major character, title character, or like major plot point character in the movie. So 90 films exist out there with just made up presidents.
Wow.
So that is double our number of presidents almost.
So out of those 90 films, who is your favorite president?
I've been thinking about this because, so we've kind of been planning these episodes ahead quite a bit, and knowing that we were going to do this one on election week, and we decided to actually drop it or upload it or whatever on election day. So we've been thinking about this, or I've been thinking about this for like a couple weeks now. And I keep going back and forth between two actors. Both play completely different presidents. The movies are completely different. One's a romantic comedy or drama, and the other one is a sci-fi movie. It's probably going to be on everybody's list of favorite movie presidents ever. So the first one is Michael Douglas from The American President with Annette Bening, and that is the drama president, or the drama movie. And then the other one is obviously Bill Pullman from Independence Day. And if he's not on everybody's...
Thomas Whitmore.
Yeah, if he's not everybody's at least like top 5, you're crazy. You're out of your mind. But yeah, those are my two favorites.
No, I would agree. He's on mine, Bill Pullman. Because his speech is iconic. Like, come on. Like, even now, I know every word to it, and it's still...
I'm pretty sure George W. Bush took his megaphone idea from Independence Day. I'm almost positive that's where he got it from.
Yeah, so the other person on my list, because I have a couple, or at least a couple that I'd like to mention, but I think my favorite is Thomas Whitmore, because not only is that speech just so arousing, and in the movie, because we're taking the movie as if they were real life and then critiquing or, basing our opinions on, the president. He was supposedly a pilot in the Gulf War. And, all throughout, he's a family man. He's loyal to his wife. He loves his daughter. He makes that speech right, like, just, it's not like he planned it out, which all great president speeches are kind of like that. You always hear the story of like Lincoln writing down the Gettysburg Address on a napkin before he gave it. He didn't quite think out every single word and read off of a prompt. And I think those make like the best speeches, really.
It was very America. It made you, just watching the movie, proud to be an American, kind of.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know for anybody who's watched Miracle, the movie about the 1980 Olympics, Miracle on Ice. That movie is one of those movies where you're just like, yeah, I'm American. Let's beat those commies. Like, it just it didn't even, like, as someone who was not born during the Cold, not alive during the Cold War, and has none of those like feelings that maybe those generations before me would have about Russians and Russia and all of that stuff. But that movie just made you proud to be an American. And Independence Day, in that speech specifically, it was very much like, oh yeah, let's go. I want to like stand up and say the Pledge of Allegiance or something. Like, it did. It made you very like, it just, I'm patriotic to begin with. So I love those types of movies. That is one of the reasons that he's one of my favorite, tied for favorite movie president. Yeah.
The other one, and you mentioned Russia and communists, there's a common theme within a lot of fictitious movie presidents, and it's either aliens, an asteroid, or the Russians. Like, those are the three main enemies of movies that surround around a president. Because Air Force One.
Oh yeah, that's a great movie.
I love that movie. And Harrison Ford, of course, is the president in that movie, and he's on Air Force One, and it's the Russians, But the same thing. He's ex-military, or he had service, and then he becomes president, so he's kick-ass at it. But yeah, I think Harrison Ford and Bill Pullman are probably my favorite ones.
Probably two very similar president like characters too. They play for different reasons. They're that strong, needed in a crisis type president. So I think that those are two very, very similar.
Capable.
Yeah, and capable. Yeah, two very similar movie presidents. And again, I think it's hard to imagine having like a favorite without putting, to me, Bill Pullman up, up there. It's hard to imagine him as not being, the best movie president out there. But the reason that I can't get Michael Douglas, like, he just can't drop to that second level, and the reason it's a tie for me is because he is in the movie An American President, he's a widower. And Annette Bening, I don't know if you've seen it. She plays a lobbyist, and she's like the opposite of his politics. Like, they have opposite politics and whatever, and she's constantly trying to get him to approve this bill or something that's going to help her lobbying or whatever. I don't remember like the specifics. It's been a while since I've seen the movie, but basically they fall in love. And so he's just a very real human president, which I kind of like, because it makes the movie is more about the man than the office.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which I really appreciated. So I like the movie for those reasons, and I like him as president just because Michael Douglas is uber dignified. He's just like as a person, he just seems, well-to-do and just very dignified in his mannerisms, and he's a great actor.
Yeah, I was about to say we should do kind of like our episode with Kate Winslet, how she is not too pigeonholed. Like she does a whole bunch of different types of characters, and Michael Douglas too.
He is
like there's like 4 offhand that are just
completely different.
Completely different.
He's a phenomenal actor, and has been forever. I mean, the guy's been acting for forever. So yeah, I think that for me, that movie is very different in terms of, a president movie, or a movie where even the president is a character at all. Because normally movies where you have the president, a fictitious president specifically, even shown, it's some kind of like world is ending. The president's got to be involved, in the Oval Office with the red phone, that kind of deal.
Yeah.
So this movie is not that way at all. There is no crisis that has to be, overcome. His crisis is that people are coming after him because he's falling in love, and he's the president. He can't have relationships with women. And so it's a very interesting movie that way. And it shows the politics of like the ugly side of politics almost really well, without being catty towards them. Like, I don't know how to explain it without giving
it's not showing a bias. It's just showing.
Yeah, it's not a bias at all, which is cool because it doesn't really show real politics. It's more like the engine of politics and how Washington kind of works, but without being like, this is what the movie's about. It's a really cool movie. I really enjoy it.
Have you seen, speaking of, just a little tiny segue, the recent movie that Jon Stewart wrote and directed with Steve Carell? And
it's on Amazon Prime. I haven't seen it yet. It looks so good. I love Steve Carell so much.
I would recommend it. I did not expect where it was going at all. And it was very entertaining. It showcased a lot of real things that happen and how the news and media and politics are kind of like hand in hand, and the relationships that you see on both sides and within the same side, and how
Irresistible.
Yeah, that sounds
with Rose Byrne.
Yes.
Where he's he's a strategist for the Democratic Party. Yeah. I saw tons of trailers and like social media things about it, and I wanted to watch it. I just never like got the chance to. For any of you watching, you can rent or buy it on Amazon Prime right now for $6. So
it's worth it.
I'm definitely gonna go do that because I've been wanting to see it. So it's good to know that since you've seen it, it's recommended.
It's worth it. And too, like during this election time, like it's a good movie. Go watch it today, get in the spirit of politics, I guess.
'Tis the season.
The good thing about about that movie is Jon Stewart, how he wrote it. You can insinuate who the president is they're talking about, but they never show him. They never say president. Like they don't mention his name, they don't show him, they just mention little things that you're like, oh, I know who you're talking about. But they leave it very ambiguous. And I really liked that because, it could have went into like a dig on the current president,
Right.
But they left it very ambiguous that it's a story of just current affairs,
current events. Yeah.
Yeah. So I
well, what was
it's so good.
There Transformers, was it the first one or the second one? It's got to be the first one because that's the one where they find the Allspark, right? And it's in Hoover Dam. That's the first Transformers. So in that movie, there is a scene on Air Force One where one of the flight crew has to go down below deck to get the president some bonbons or something. And the only scene you see is the president laying in his chamber or his bedroom or whatever on Air Force One. And you see his red socks. And he says, go down below deck and get me some bonbons, sweetheart, or something like that. And you know who it is that the president is, just on the very Texan accent that he has and the red socks and just the way he's kind of talking very, Joe Sixpack about the whole thing with the bonbons. But so they kind of make fun of it without being direct and almost disrespectful. Like it's just satire. It's like a very SNL kind of, because
like
even sometimes SNL can take it just a little bit too much. But
just a little cameo.
I like when movies do that. You know, they especially if a movie is going to be in a present time and the president needs to be in it or involved, or you can't really dance around them.
Alluded to.
Yeah, to have them alluded to in some ways is really cool. But I'm a sucker for a fake president in movies. I love when they give, some just anybody, like when Jamie Foxx was the president in that movie with Channing Tatum. No, that was the other one. White House Down.
White House Down. Yeah. I wrote down. I
love that movie.
I wrote down a question. I was like, so can anyone tell me what the difference is between White House Down and these Has Fallen movies?
Yeah.
Come on, people. Because didn't the first one
one has a black president, one has a white president. That's the difference between the movies. Aaron Eckhart is the president in one, and then Jamie Foxx is the president in the other. Yeah, but they're pretty much the same. And they came out like the same year. Olympus Has Fallen and White House Down. They came out within a couple weeks of each other, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, they came out at least within a couple of months of each other.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Definitely within the same year. But I think one of White House Down is a little bit more quippy and like kind of funny-ish.
I mean, it definitely had a more like
light
bromance kind of vibe to it,
like in a Die Hard way, Yeah,
exactly.
Whereas
White House Down was more like, Olympus Has Fallen was more like a shoot 'em up, like
serious movie. Kind of movie.
Gerard Butler, he's a serious actor.
I did want to throw in here, since it's about probably halfway through the podcast right now, I wanted to mention that some actors have played the president twice.
Yeah, I was looking for like stats on this, and I found a bunch of people who had played real presidents multiple times. Like I think the most was an actor who had played a actual U.S. president 9 different times. That was the most anyone had ever played a president on film. But again, we weren't talking about history. We were just talking about fake stuff. So
yeah. Well, I found some, so I'll list them off here. So Henry Fonda. Some Henry Fonda.
Yes.
I have not seen these movies. Fail Safe in 1964, he played the president, and he also plays the president in Meteor. I wonder what that one's about. In 1979.
Probably not a meteor.
Right? It's like probably Deep Impact was based off of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Which actually brings me to my next president, which is Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
He played the president in Deep Impact in 1998, which I really like that movie. I really do.
I think it's underrated.
Yeah, I think it is. People just hear the name Deep Impact and snicker and don't actually.
It's a joke. Yeah, it's not actual. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, and then he's also the president in the Has Fallen movies.
He's the vice president in the first one, because Aaron Eckhart's the president in the first one, and then they have to swear him in the bunker or on Airforce One or something. It's a very like Kennedy, Lyndon B. Johnson kind of scenario where they had to swear him in.
Too soon.
Happened in 1963, but I mean, Kennedy is what's up.
Oh.
If we are going to talk about real presidents for just a second, just because there have been so many movies about Kennedy or where he is a character, TV shows and movies, who's your favorite actor to portray JFK?
Ooh, that's a good one. So there was this movie. It's actually kind of sci-fi, but it's JFK, and I think it's called JFK. It's this guy who can like travel back in time. And I think he like saves JFK. Ooh. And then they go on. I saw it when I was a little girl, but I think whoever played JFK in that one.
Okay.
But I know that there was one. Who is it? I didn't see the movie, so I can't really say.
Okay.
But didn't Bruce Greenwood?
I don't know. Maybe, there are so many movies. about Kennedy, right?
Yeah.
Where like the movie is about
I
him.
want to say Bruce
or about
Greenwood
Jackie,
played
but
him.
there is one movie that will always come to mind, and it's not about JFK necessarily, but his character or his persona is in the movie, and it's Butler. Forrest Whitaker plays like the White House butler, and it's basically his story over all the years that he was the head butler at the White House. Like Robin Williams is in it; he plays Dwight Eisenhower. Jane Fonda plays Nancy Reagan. Like it's a huge cast. But James Marsden plays JFK in that movie, and he is incredible as JFK. I mean, he nails his accent, his mannerisms. He kind of looks like him. It's a very, very, very good iteration of JFK. And I think for me, that's my favorite one. And it's not a movie about JFK, which I thought was really cool. The worst version I've seen of JFK was the guy who plays Dexter.
William C. Hall.
Yeah. He plays JFK in the Netflix series The Crown. And it's not good. It's not good.
It's not good.
They kind of villainized JFK a little bit in that series. Because it's like at the end of shortly before he's assassinated, so his and Jackie's relationship is not good in the few episodes that he's in, and he's kind of made to be a jerk in the few episodes that he's in. But even regardless, I just don't think that he's a good JFK. I don't see it. It didn't sound like him. He
has too much of a square face.
Yeah, but James Marsden is like. So if anybody hasn't seen The Butler or is just looking for what a really good movie JFK looks like, just go watch the few scenes that are from that movie with James Marsden, because those are some pretty bomb.
Bruce Greenwood, he did play him in I just had it pulled up. But anyways, it's not here nor there. Bruce Greenwood had also played fictional presidents in National Treasure.
Right
yeah.
on.
National Treasure.
That's right.
The second one, yeah.
Yep.
And then also
he was a great
Kingsman.
President. I loved him as the president.
In National Treasure. Yeah.
He was a good president. I really liked that. Yeah. I forgot about that.
Absolute Power. Gene Hackman played the president.
Gene Hackman. Like some Gene Hackman.
Yes. 1997. He will forever and always be
Lex Luthor.
Same. Forever and always.
Same. Yep. Agreed.
But apparently he's also played a president.
I like him better as Lex Luthor. I've never even seen him as the president, but I like him better as Lex Luthor. He's such a good bad guy.
It was kind of, I mean, maybe he was a bad president in these ones, but Absolute Power. I mean, maybe he's trying to do the whole Julius Caesar thing.
Maybe.
And then
maybe it was him playing Lex Luthor as president. Oh.
Right? Lex Luthor becomes president. Could you imagine? I
mean, they did it in Smallville, so why not?
Welcome to Mooseport.
Yeah, I heard about that. I heard about that movie. I never did see it though. So I couldn't speak to it at all. Of all of the actors and actresses who have played president, fictional.
There haven't been many
actresses, no.
The only one I can think of is in the second Independence Day.
Yeah, there's a few. Yeah. Beyond those who have played president on TV, in movies, because there are countless TV shows where the president is a main theme, or like literally the whole entire show is about them. I'm sure there are actors and actresses who, both of us and you guys listening, who would have rather seen somebody play the president at least once. So I'm going to ask the question now. If you guys have any actors or actresses who you would like to see as the president, or who you think could have done a better job as a fictional president in one of the movies that we've talked about, leave it in the comments. Let us know on Instagram or Twitter or whatever. And Emily, do you have any actors or actresses that you think would make a good president?
Oh, that's such a good question. Off the top of my head, I'm thinking Kurt Russell. I don't know why, but
I dig that. You could put him in a drama. You could put him in an action movie. You could put him in a comedy.
in a love story. He plays everything.
For
and
some
so
reason,
well.
I see him. Did you ever see Sky High?
Yeah.
Okay,
I love that movie.
for some reason, I see him, that character, as president. Like that's the kind of movie
Yes.
that I would watch him as president, and I would be totally down for that.
And then, isn't Gina Davis? Doesn't she already play a president?
I was trying to look that up. So yes,
Because I feel like
she
she
did.
would make a good
She did
president.
in Commander in Chief. So I guess it was a TV show, 2005 to 2006. President Mackenzie Allen. She's actually, according to the Wall Street Journal's list that they did of like the 44 fake presidents from worst to best.
Oh, yeah.
So 1 being the best, 44 being the worst. She's number 10. So she had to be pretty good.
Yeah, see?
And they agree with
I
you.
think
Harrison Ford is their number 1.
Isn't it Gary Oldman?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's Gary Oldman.
From forever and ever now, Gary Oldman is always going to be
Fifth Element.
Weirdo guy from the Fifth Element. Yes, I can't unsee it. I remember when we watched that for this channel, I was like,
oh man.
I remember watching the movie and rewinding the first like scene that he's in, going, "Is that Gary Oldman?" And he's just
so great.
It is Gary Oldman. He's so weird in that movie. Didn't he play Winston Churchill?
Yes, he did.
Did you see that movie?
No, I
it was
did
not that good. I was bored out of my mind.
Yeah, The Darkest Hour.
Yes.
Because when it came out, there was like what 1 or 2 or 3 other Winston Churchill.
Yeah, it came out.
Movies and TV
I don't know
shows.
why they do that. Like
what's his face? The Third Rock guy.
John Lithgow.
John Lithgow. Yeah,
he played him in The Crown.
Yeah,
he was lights out as Winston Churchill. I mean, like, incredible as Winston Churchill. The Darkest Hour. That is what the movie was called. Not a fan of that one at all.
When it comes to period pieces, I don't quite like World War II or World War I. I just don't. I don't quite like war movies too much, especially if they're based on real life, which, Saving Private Ryan, like, you got your exceptions, but
they're difficult movies to watch. I do enjoy them, but they definitely are. They're hard movies to watch.
You know what? The one I really, really enjoyed, but again, it's not World War II or World War I, but Benghazi. Was it called Benghazi?
No, that was 13 Hours.
13 Hours.
With John Krasinski.
That
great movie.
Was a great movie.
Great movie. And another one where I think they could have definitely played up the politics more than they did, but thankfully they didn't, because it stood on its own without it, because that whole time was so heavily politicized with the decision to act versus not act, and whose fault it was and whatever. But I think they did, in the movie, they did a really good job of kind of towing the line and trying to just, accurately, or as accurately as they could, tell a story of these guys who, experienced it, and not so much politicize. It was very easy to let that go, thankfully, because those types of movies are always, and sometimes movies with presidents in them in general, they are very politically heavy, and that is like the exact opposite of what I want in a movie. If it's a historical piece, fine, and that's why I said in 13 Hours I thought they did a good job, because they definitely did have their standpoint, whatever, but they never went one side or the other, because they were just trying to say this is probably how it happened. Which I thought they did a really good job of, because sometimes movies pick a side. If you're trying to force a villain where there isn't one, and then you can't really say that this is based on a true story anymore, because it's totally not.
Right, especially when your bias is so heavy.
Exactly.
Bringing it back to Irresistible, that's the exact same. It's like, it just shows you like the political arena, not like the head honchos.
Right.
It's just like the inner,
it's the engine,
like the lobbyists and media and the people. that actually coach, their people, and how, like things are set up, and how meetings and interviews and like how it all just gets broadcast to the public, and like how that gets done.
Yeah.
And it shows the faults on like both sides, and it shows it just shows it. And so Irresistible, good movie to watch.
Definitely gonna have to give that one a watch.
Yeah. So for the last part of this podcast, I kind of want to get into the weird presidents.
Let's do it. I'm with it.
Because well, of course, Jack Nicholson in Mars Attacks.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Love it.
He's just weird. I feel like if you're going to talk about weird anything, Jack Nicholson probably has a movie that is going to fit in that category.
Yeah.
Love him to death. I think he's a fantastic actor, but yeah, he definitely likes his weird ones.
He's a weird one. And then, as always, I love my Kubrick and like Mel Brooks and that kind of stuff. So dark comedy, I am there for it.
Oh yes.
And Dr. Strangelove.
Dr. Strangelove. I knew you were going to bring this one up at some point.
Yes, because it's Peter Sellers who plays the president in that one, and again, it's with Russia. And he's just in his bunker the entire time, and just like, and he actually plays 3 other characters in that movie. I'll have you know.
Yeah.
He gets all dressed up and everything, but he's so good at being dummy.
Adult.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, as a president. And
he's like, what's his face in Spaceballs? Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Why can I never remember that guy's name?
What else is he in?
I can hear his name like in my brain.
I could see his voice. I can
Rick
see
Moranis.
Can't see voices, Emily.
I can see his voice. What have you been drinking?
Nothing. What are you drinking?
I am drinking some Proper 12.
Oh, nice.
Not a sponsor. Movies and whiskey. I can talk about it.
Speaking of drinks, this one is a movie. It's just a cartoon.
You will find a segue for anything. I truly believe that.
Yes, I can.
It's a talent.
Just bing, 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 bing. Yeah, Monsters versus Aliens. It's an animated movie. Stephen Colbert is the president.
Yep.
He's always wanting to make a cup of joe. And he presses the wrong red button and almost sends the nukes out or whatever.
Oh my goodness. Another really good, and this is not a movie where the president is like necessary except for the fact that his daughter's in it. So it's not the one you're thinking. It's My Date with the President's Daughter.
Which one were you thinking? I was thinking
a Disney movie. First Daughter, the one with Kevin Costner. Oh, or the one with Amanda Bynes.
No.
Chasing Liberty. There are so many.
Mandy Moore, yeah.
Mandy Moore, Chasing Liberty. Yeah. There are a ton, but movie. Yeah, that is a good one. But My Date with the President's Daughter, the guy who plays the president in that movie is baller. I want him to be the president, and also when I was a kid, definitely maybe wanted him to be my dad because he was so cool. It's actually part of that The Wonderful World of Disney, the same like series that did Princess of Thieves. Will Friedle, or Friedel, I don't know how you pronounce his name. Eric Matthews from Boy Meets World. It's him.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
Dabney Coleman plays President Richmond, and he is awesome. He just looks presidential. He's also in War Games, You've Got Mail, 9 to 5. So he's been around. But that movie's awesome. So if you are like a teen or tween, or
you just someone who Disney movies,
or someone who is 28 and used to watch these movies on the Disney Channel, My Date with the President's Daughter. The theme song was awesome too. My date with the president's daughter, oh yeah, my date with her. I promise you that's how it went. I promise you that's how it went. He can be like a close second to Michael Douglas and Bill Pullman. He's in the movie for like 35 seconds, but he's so good. I actually really like who plays the first lady in that movie too. That's a good movie, man. That's an underrated TV movie.
I don't think I've seen it.
It probably would be terrible now.
Right.
I feel like it's a very Princess of Thieves. Like, if you didn't watch it when you were a kid, it's probably trash now. But man, it was the best movie ever when I was a kid.
Now, I will be doing that reaction to Princess of Thieves because when you were like, well, you should watch it because maybe it doesn't hold up, I rewatched it. Okay. And I'll upload that to the
Continued.
YouTube channel.
Little plug. I love it.
If you want to see that and my reaction, does it actually hold up? That will be going up either this week or next week, whenever I can get it up. That's what he said. I'm sorry.
Oh,
anyways, so that being said, Erinn, take it away.
Yes. Before we end this episode, I do want to just quickly, because in the world of movies, we kind of suffered a huge loss on Saturday with the death of Sir Sean Connery, James Bond himself. And so I thought it might be kind of cool to just talk about him a little bit. He was 90. So he had lived a long life, won an Oscar, was James Bond for like a million years. He's the original James Bond. So I thought it'd be cool if we talked about him for a little bit.
If you had to pick a favorite movie, which one would it be?
Okay. Well, so I'll give you my favorite James Bond included. Okay. So Goldfinger is by far and away my favorite. It's on the wall. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, but it is also one of my favorite James Bond movies of all time. It's classic, and he is the epitome of just suave sophistication. Like I fell in love with him in that movie. The other movie is The Untouchables, which is the movie that he won his Oscar for.
I don't think I've seen that movie.
You've never seen The Untouchables? Oh my goodness. The guy you think that looks like Al Pacino's in it. Andy Garcia's in it. Andy Garcia, Kevin Costner, Sean Connery, Robert De Niro. It's about Al Capone. It's incredible. It's a gangster movie. You wouldn't have seen it. That makes sense. You wouldn't have seen it. But it's a great movie. But yeah, those are my two.
Okay.
What about you?
For me, and it's
The Hunt for Red October. I can read you like a book.
I love that movie. I love it so much. He's fantastic.
He is.
In that movie.
He is.
So good. So yes, Hunt for the Red October. However, his voice acting skills in Dragonheart would be my favorite of all time.
All right.
Like, yes, and yes. And then one of his.
Did you know that his last movie was actually a voice acting role before he like officially retired?
I didn't know that. I was actually going to say one of his last physical roles is also one of my favorite movies that he's in, and that's The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
Yep. Yeah.
Like,
that
a lot of people didn't like that movie. Which
it didn't get like
weird, but
it didn't get great feedback or reviews or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, that was his last like major film that he did, like actual film. But he was in another movie that he just did voice work for in 2012, which was his last like actual acting role that he did before he retired and moved to the Bahamas, which talk about an awesome retirement.
Highlander.
Oh yeah.
Freaking Highlander. One of my favorite movies of all time. Oh my word. Anyways, but he plays like an Egyptian in that one, not a Scottish man.
Well, I mean, James Bond is British, so
yeah, but like
apparently he's just really good.
Really the Isles, Northern Isles. So yes, he had
quite the legacy. That's for sure. Yeah, and I think it's pretty cool that he was also as famous as he was, and as star-studded as a career as he did have, was able to take the twilight years, as it were, and have his retirement and be as private a person as he wanted to be with his family and take that time, because it's not often where you see someone who becomes a public figure talking about presidents. It's like once they're, in the public eye, that's it. They're always the president. They're always, in the limelight. And actors are very much the same way, especially actors of the caliber of Sean Connery. So I think it's cool that he got to live last years of his life, just doing what he wanted to do and being a private person, because that's got to wear thin on a person, just being in the spotlight all the time. It would drive me crazy. I give anyone who's in the limelight, all credit to just be able to do that, because it takes a special kind of person for sure.
All right, Erinn. I think that does it for this episode.
I think so. As you guys know, we are dropping new content every week, mostly on Mondays, but in special circumstances like today. So make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel, click the bell so that you'll be notified whenever new content does go live. You can follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all of the places where your podcasts stream, thanks to Anchor FM. Follow us or along with us on Instagram at All of the Movies. We have a Facebook page now that we're trying to get some content up for you guys. So you can just search All of the Movies there as well and join the conversation with us, because that is, like we keep saying, that's the whole reason we wanted to do this. This channel was to kind of invite you guys into our nerddom for all things movies. And we will continue to make these videos, and hopefully you guys enjoy them and get something out of them, and we can have a conversation together. But yeah, the best way to do that is with us on social media. In the meantime, we will be hard at work on our next episode. We'll catch you then.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
I don't know, but Harrison Ford, he's pretty good to look at.
He's nice to look at.
But that's not why you should vote for a president, because they're good looking.
Fictional or otherwise.
It's probably the lower part of the standard for your vote
funny.
if you cast your vote.
That's funny.
Hey guys, thanks again for joining Emily and me for this episode of All of the Movies. We're both so excited to bring you in on our discussion of the things that we love about film. So make sure to subscribe to the channel on YouTube or wherever you stream your podcasts. We'll be at it again next week with some more amazing content, so don't forget to enable notifications so that you never miss a new upload. Of course, connect with us on Instagram at All of the Movies and on Twitter at All of the Movies 1. We'll catch you next time, but for now, that's a wrap.